Good evening, Free Enterprise friends. Welcome to our Friday night Community Race Night Showcase. I am your host, Rex Soul. I am joined tonight by Deathlike. Deathlike, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm already happy to see Best Girl on the as the starting character. Though you are allowed to pick a different one. It's early on with this flag set. I it should be interesting tonight.
Absolutely. So we've got Beauty and Discovery in the background, getting us set up in the restream. Falgren's going to be doing our tracking tonight. Deathlike, you alluded to the fact that this is a See No Earned flag set, but we have a new flag of See Wishes, which means our players can go right to the Tower of Wishes and pick up 5 of the 7 distinct characters in this flag set right off the bat.
Yes. So if you don't like who you start with, that's okay. You can eat the Porum. Maybe if there's a Rosa, probably best thing to do. Though I think before you even make that decision, the best thing you want to do is loot early on, at least loot where you normally loot early on in game, where Castle Eblin, I like the Waterway. There's and maybe loot Dempsey in the basement, just because you're gonna pick up the hovercraft, because this is gonna be force hook seed, so you might as well pick up, get a few hints of where you may want to go, and then that be on your way. But so I think looting first will save you a lot of headache, at least when you're picking your team.
Perfect. Well, let's talk about our objectives on this real quick right before we get started here. So this is our 5.0 alpha flag, alpha version of Free Enterprise, which means we're showcasing some more flags. But the fun thing here is we have what's called objective groups now in the 5.0 version of the game, meaning you have groups of objectives that can earn you different rewards, not just winning the game or the crystal now. So in this particular flag set, we have 5 objective groups. I'm going to try to run through you as easily and succinctly as I can. So the first group you actually see on your screen now that the players have up is defeat Golbez, defeat the Bull Gauntlet. That is required. You have to do that. Okay? The next 2 groups are Group B and C. Those each contain 6 random bosses, and I'll go over those in a moment, who they are. Group D. If you complete killing all 6 bosses in Group B and complete all 6 bosses in Group C, you get the curse ring. If you complete one of those group of 6 and Golbez and Football Gauntlet, that's where you get your crystal to go take Zveromus. So we get the hook right off the bat as we see our players get started. So that force hook route coming into play immediately. We have a treasure chest coming along with us here. What's that all about?
So filling in, because of I think See Wishes, I think we fill up all the other, I think this is from other flags that fill up all the spots with some loot, either loot or if it's in blue, it's a key item. So it's a second key item on top of the hook, I think. So that'll be a lot of fun. Or sometimes there'll be nothing, because there is nothing. Poop. Where if there was something there, it's just an empty spot. So occasionally, rarely there'll be nothing, but most of the time you'll get something. Probably worth. See that we're in Baron Inn there would have been a karate. No, well, since there's no characters to pick up. Hey, let's give you some loot. So I like the characters. Let me just take a look. Let's see.
Kane, Sid.
Oh, this is gonna be horrible.
Tella, and I didn't see who's in the bottom right.
I think it's Edward.
Oh, it's Yang. So there's it's a distinct 7. So that's the characters you have to choose from. Flori's going to go through and just pick up who wants in his party. I'd imagine one of those 2 black mages are going with them. Tella is not necessary at this point in time because you've got your white mage already. I'm okay with this party. So we got the twins. We've got Kane. We've got Rydia. And then who's the 5th one?
There's a Sid. Tella.
Not picked up Young though. He picked up Young.
Yeah. So I would have considered picking up Patella, but I mean, you have a lot of mages, and that'd be okay. I think, but my thing would be, if you pick radios because you've picked up a summon orb in your looting, before, then that would make the decision that much easier. And that's a Baron key. That was the other item, so that helps.
Yeah, that's why I was going to just point out, as we see Flurry going through Dempsey, and as you had mentioned on our pre-talk before we went live, this is a lot of the looting going on. Pick up what we can. We are in T Wildish here, so this is pretty decent flag set for looting, in addition to T playable. So anything we see in terms of being able to equip it will be seen in these seeds. Now, I will tell you, there have been changes in the 5.0 when it comes to the T playable flag. Are you aware of what those changes are?
I don't know if there's any specific changes. I just know that there are some niceties that come with being T playable. Like if there's a radio, there will be summon orbs. If there's an edge, you will get a lot of dartable things. So
that's actually the change. What it is before you could get summon orbs regardless if you had radio or not in your seed on T playable. Now, if you get summon orbs, you know you're going to have a radio in the seed. Now, we know who's in the seed now. That's how the T playable flag has changed now. Any dartable item means that you can get an edge. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to, but it means you can. Used to, you had to see a piece of steel or like the ninja shirt to be able to know you have an edge in the seed. So those are a couple of the changes to the T playable flag.
Yeah, this applies to not just loot but also shops. So you will always get pretty much what you want. I'm not sure if you will miss some of the items. You probably still will, but not as pretty unlikely. Which is good, as you like if you're selling something, you better have that character has to exist. So that's helpful. Though you don't want to look to shops to look for shops to see who your characters are. You want to do it the reverse. You want to loot. That's why you want to loot first, pick your party, and then go to shops to fill up whatever you're not getting in terms of the loot you're given. Like chances are you may not get cat claws for Yang if you picked up Yang. So it's probably worth looking for shops so Yang can be at his best.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're seeing Flurry come through here. And going to probably step his party now because we'll probably have a first boss check. The thing about the bosses in this flag set, we have a new flag called Beat Chaos. We featured this a couple weeks ago on our show, our Friday night, our community race night. But if you're not familiar with the Beat Chaos flag, it is a new flag in the 5.0 free enterprise where it means that you're allowed to have duplicate bosses, which means not every boss is guaranteed to appear. So let's talk about the bosses. This is a good time to talk about the bosses that are in this objective group. So the first group of 6 are Pale Dim, Mylon Z, Dark Knight Cecil, Dark Elf, Dark Imps, and the Baron Guards. So that's your one group of bosses. The other group is Octomammoth, King Queen Evelyn, Karate Gang, Magus Sisters, Rubicant, and Asura. As we see Flurry pick up the Baron Guard, so that's going to be one of our objectives from Group B. So as I'd mentioned before, if you complete Group B and Golbez and the Football Gauntlet, then you get the Crystal. If you complete Group C, Golbez and the Gauntlet, you get the Crystal. If you complete B and C, you get a curse ring out of the deal. So lots of things to take care of. This is a lot of checking and a lot of tracking for Falgrim tonight, so make sure you give him some kudos in chat as we see Flurry take down the Baron Guards for our first objective.
I think the cursed ring is a trap.
Unless you happen to run into 12 of them, you're not going to chase.
You're not chasing for it. You just want to get one of the 6, the half dozen completed and call it a day. It has to be within that group, of course. So I think the most difficult issue that second floor is she was finding that second floor there's no more there's only 6 characters.
You take those, unfortunately. You can't look for unfortunately there's no Cecil here.
You can replace the Porm. This is not C hero, so you can replace the Porm, but probably it makes sense to keep a white mage around. So I think of the things to worry about, I think you gotta work with what you have. I think the hardest boss and the most difficult boss in that list is really DKC, because we've built essentially a group of mages, and this is that is a terrible. That's a terrible thing for mages because they just don't have the HP to just tank hits. So what so Yang becomes a lot more valuable. Sid, I mean, there's between Yang and Sid where your high HP capacity characters are gonna probably survive the fight. There aren't. I mean, you cannot have other characters, Kain, Cecil, but Kain probably could, but I think the character you really want is a Yang. Sid would be your anchor, but I don't know. I'm not. I think Yang is probably going to be more productive character for just to survive a DKC. If especially with chaos happening, you might find more DKCs in really bad spots. So right. Yang would probably be a better choice than a Sid. I know Sid can do it, but you're gonna use him as an anchor, and you're probably not gonna. He's not gonna scale as fast as Sid. I'm sorry, scale as fast as Yang in terms of attack power. You just want that punchiness all day.
So let's talk about the fact that Flurry did pick up the pass from those Baron guards. The pass is a key item in 5.0. So while it does not, mean a whole lot. I mean, obviously we have the crystal here. So there's the gauntlet there at Fabul Gauntlet. Hey, it's vanilla. Maybe order some vanilla ice cream.
No, it's not. That's not vanilla. Oh, no, vanilla would be the sword, the general in Soul.
Oh, so this is the alt gauntlet, but at Fabul Gauntlet. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Close enough. It's vanilla enough.
Okay. But that pass will add towards the 10 key items that are that work towards the double experience points. So let's talk about experience as well. So the K objective bonus 5 flag is on. What that means in English terms is every completed objective will give you 5% more of a bonus XP. So that's another reason to be knocking off some of these objectives. That's in addition to the double bonus at 10 key items.
I think I really not notice. I mean, it's there. It's definitely it's noticeable once you do end game experience grinding.
Right.
But I think it's. Especially with this flag set, you are more tempted to do. You definitely want to do even, Miss Cave, Demus spot, and even the waterfall spot, just because there's just the boss, and you have an opportunity to knock off one more objective off your list. It's like doing early foo, like in free enterprise, and I think you're more incentivized to do it. I would definitely do monarch deals. Although you can definitely walk away from it if that's not the matching boss or there's not a blue chest because blue chests we want the key items so we can get further onto our seed. But I think late game or at least mid game where you thinking maybe you want to do like a one-off, like do you want to walk the way a sealed cave or do you want to do package? There's some stranger options that you would have not considered to do but may opt to do because of the kind of the flag set where where the spots there are no characters to pick up. The key items can be there and the bosses lodge behind the spots. So like when you do package, there's a boss behind that, and you might want to kind of gamble on hoping that the boss one of the last bosses on your list is behind that. So you should. It's kind of one of the things you may want to consider doing if you're a racer, if you want to gamble.
Yeah, and the number of boss checks does not change. Just because BKS is on, you still only have the 34 boss checks. So the probability of landing additional ones still pretty large, especially when you have 14 bosses to choose from here, between the two groups of 6 as well as the 2 required ones in the Fabul Gauntlet and Golbez. So, in case you're just joining us, and the flag set's on there, let's break this down very quickly again. This is the 5.0 free enterprise, which means we now have objective groups. Objective group A is required, and that's going to be Golbez and the Gauntlet. Groups B and C are groups of 6 random bosses. You complete one of those group of 6, as well as Golbez and Fabul Gauntlet, you get the crystal. If you happen to go through and complete both groups of 6, if you're that unlucky where you take care of all 12, you get a free cursoring out of the deal. So you'll see our runners take on different boss fights that you probably would kind of wave off. But yeah, with B Chaos, meaning you can face the boss multiple times. You'll see them try to check every boss spot they can. So was that a sylph picked up from the front of Mount Hobbs?
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing if you have Iridia in your party. No, whether the summon is worthwhile at times, like it can, I think. I mean, you can't get a Leviathan, but an Azura, a Sylph, a Titan, probably.
With the
probably
Sylph
be
in
worth it.
Alien Caves, I know we've seen this summon already. I don't remember where we saw it. Because that's what got us on the question about the T playable in the first place. I don't remember where that was located. Yeah. Yeah, Fulgur's mentioning in chat that she already has it. So yeah, that's what I say. I thought we saw it already. As we see Shiro go down, she's going to check off the Baron guards here. As Flurry's going to head south by way of north to Mount Ordeals.
I do like you are definitely more encouraged to do Mount Ordeals in this flag set. So I find that if I can defeat whatever's on Mount Hobbs, then just go immediately to Mount Ordeals afterwards with a if there was a DKC, of course, an Ortella helps a lot. Mostly for your starting mage characters, you just want them to have Cure 2 and the level 2 elementals. Outside of Rydia will, doesn't have access to until until you do complete the Dwarf Castle event. So you but for Palom, there is a lot of value, and might be Baron guards again, though there's always the other guards, let's see Baron guards.
Yeah. Flurry electing not to save. If you caught that or not, but we bypassed the save at the top Ordeals. We're just running right into the fight here. Kane telling Rydia to take a nap. She's going to be our anchor for the group, it appears.
Well, she's not the anchor as currently constituted. If I were to guess the reason why, though, is probably maybe Slingshot. We have 5 characters. If she's lagging behind in terms of level, which is like 5 levels lower than the median level of the party, then you get double experience. So Rydia's, unless we found a really good summon, Sylph is not quite one of them. Her sleeping existence probably won't matter. You already have twins, so it's probably good enough. You don't really need that much more unless you stumble upon a Leviathan or a Bahamut.
There's another one of our bosses in our objective pool. King Queen Evelyn is one of our bosses from Group C. So this will be number 1 out of Group C for Shiru. So we've seen the guards taken down by both of them. And we've seen the gauntlet taken down by Falgrim.
Flurry has Golbez, back attack.
Oh, Flurry, I'm sorry.
This is the problem. There's another flag in play. I think it was called Ybez, where the start of the battle you'll be informed by the music changing. It should be. If it doesn't change, it's probably because you're already in that music, which then you'll miss an opportunity to make your attack. There's a temporary invisibility stage, so Golbez will can't be hit. So if he's that much slower than like say an edge leader of some sort, you probably should, when you hear the music change, start inputting things to hurt Golbez with, or you could probably get away with like a Star Veil if you think you need it. Probably not as devastating here. There will be other spots where Golbez might be far more lethal with the virus or Lit 3.
Just in case something dicey comes up here in the mirror room, we see Flurry going back to do a save real quick before we walk into the mirror room. Dicey things here, I'm guessing, are going to be stuff like your Ogopogos.
You shouldn't worry about that. There's a free heal, so
not with a party of 5. I wouldn't worry about it as well.
No, you got a full party. There's no hero, so you should be really safe. Only thing that will surprise you is if there was Blarg and you forgot what to do. That is always
What's
that
Dark
would
Elf?
always be the thing. It isn't, but it could be. Surprise Blarg everywhere. No, look, if you roll a seed with oops a lot more Blarg, you would be panicking.
Yep, absolutely. But this Dark Elf is another boss in our Group B. So that'll be the second one in Group B for Flurry. As Flurry does have Group A complete, as we have that marked down. So Group A, Golbez, and the Gauntlet are required. And then one of the other two groups of bosses are required to get the crystal.
Unfortunate for Shiro getting Kane's petrified, as if you leave the cockatrice alone long enough, they just put you to stone. Gargoyle left long enough, I think, casts weak. So you can't. I think Palom should just spend your magic using lit to any sort of elemental to get rid of him quicker. I'm not sure what. Probably would be life saving and speed up the fight.
Another beak casted by the cockatrice. So 2 are stone now, including your white mage. So we're finishing off the rest of this gauntlet without 2 characters, because I don't recall them getting the heals inside that original.
So you get the initial heal. You got the initial heal before the fight and at the end of the fight, but not in between.
Right. I'm talking about in your items build.
You probably don't have any. You don't have probably not likely to have a heal. Not impossible, but not as common as you'd think. So.
They get a heal before and after football. It's just a matter of finishing the rest of this fight with a little less firepower with not having Kane involved.
I think there's a unique interaction with the gauntlet when they either gauntlet in the on mono deals in the crystal room. You get healed after every fight, and I think that's because if you're fighting with Tella, it's a miserable slog, and Tella would probably not last that fight if that wasn't there.
So Flurry got the pink tail, heading into the adamant cave to see what's here. No adamants in this flag set, so this is going to be Arty arrows times 10. I'm guessing that means because you can get groups of arrows that are more than 10 now. I'm guessing.
It's more like I think it's just a visual change. When you get arrows, it's always in a set of 10 all the time.
But I didn't know
it's just visualized better than it currently is.
If they were visualizing that so they can change it how many you get at a future date possibly, but yes, traditionally when you see an arrow received during an item, it's always a stack of 10. So Flurry's going to see the Magus Sisters, which is also another boss requirement in Group C here at Baron in 1.
This can be a wacky or dangerous spot because the Baron guard spot has variable agility, so they can go out of turn pretty easily, which can be amusing because if Mindy goes first before Sandy casts her wall, they die.
Yeah, but they just close up, so
it's amusing when it happens.
Absolutely. And you'll take it every time. Let's see, we've got our karate fight, which is also Group C. So we can knock off 2 from Group C here.
This is vanilla fight, though. We'll punch more. You don't see the characters punch. It's a semi-unique animation. But it's the animation of the black sword, because it was designed for DKC, but all characters appearing would actually be swinging the black sword because they never really decided what they wanted out of it, and probably because DKC would murder Cecil if he had swung the sword normally.
As we see Shiro get past the first part there and get the sisters down. And she will see that the karate fight is next. So this will be her 3rd one out of Group C. Since she took on the King and Queen of Evelyn, I believe at the Demas spot, if I recall correctly. So this is going to be as you said, this is a punchy spot here, which means our group here is going to try to throw as much power as they possibly can to get through this while getting punched in the face. Flurry's through it first. Obviously, got our first stack at it. We'll see what we get out of this. It looks to be a bandana.
It's not guaranteed key item. It just means there's loot, which has the opportunity for a key item.
And that was the Earth Crystal as well. So
that helps. So yeah, I guess we're going up.
Also, a trip to Zod, or just as important, the treasury there in Troya.
I think it would be better to do Zot because you get the loot and then come back down, and you'll be here anyways. So then you can do the Baron. It would be a little more difficult, but I think it's still worth doing because you get the loot in the treasury. Would probably outweigh whatever shopping you do. Even though these are gated, this is a gated shop with better opportunities for better weapons. I think the loot you get at the treasury would be far more than I think. Flurry is probably going the same wavelength on that.
So Flurry is now going to head up to Troya. We're at least going to play right that treasury, I'd imagine, if nothing else. Looks like we've got the Dark Imps there at the waterfall. One of our bosses in Group B.
Thinking. Shiro's thinking. Probably have. Well, it's like checking if it's in the list. It is on the list. So
Shiro's got 3 in C and only 1 in B. I don't know if you make the decision now to go ahead and choose one over the other. I don't think you're at that spot yet. So
you're not in this. You just
fight it is.
Yeah, just fight all the bosses. To be fair, you need all the experience you can get, especially the ones you're missing for for when the characters have died in combat. So it helps to do some of that. I think Shiro picked Sid over Yang, which is interesting. Maybe probably using Sid as the anchor, let everyone else do the thing. But I understand this. I would prefer Yang, but I understand this. In the case where you actually pick Yang, Flurry I think has Palom as the anchor because he is actually going to be slower than Rydia over time. Rydia actually is faster than Palom. I think Palom is a bit slower. I think like of the mages, he's slow. He's faster than Tella, but that doesn't say much.
All right, so we got an arty bow and a dragoon spear out of that, with a 2 big and a lunar staff. So I would call those maybe a B, maybe B plus. If we're going to rate that treasury, not great, but for this party, it's not terrible. We already had the arty arrows on top of the arty bow, so that's good.
Well, it's Kane over 10. Let's put it that. That's that would be my rating. Kane over 10. I think, I know with this group being heavily mage constructed, Kane is a kind of one of those guaranteed characters you want on the team, even though Val is not on the boss list, but Val can still appear. I think Kane for both makes sense when you think about it. If you can't cast magic and Quake Kid or Rydia can't do their thing, they're useless. They're not helpful. So Kane is really basically your offensive mages, your black mages salvation is what. So absolutely. That is kind of one of those things where when you build your team, you got to make sure you got to cover all bases and not have to come back. And the only time you want to come back is if you want to have a different anchor. That's it.
All right, so Shiro decided to, checked the bedward key item, which was the tower key, and then went up to Zot, whereas Flurry went and did the treasury, but then went back to Baron, and is going down to the waterway, and has found the Dark Elf at Baron 1.
It's an interesting decision. The difficulty is much easier for Flurry, but then you just have to come back. Then you have to go back to the Zot to do your thing. Where Shiro will have an easier time in terms of the routing, but may have a difficult time depending on what the bosses, the 2 bosses on the tower. The first one being Ruby. No, that's Ruby's.
Yep, that's also Group C. So that'll be 4 in Group C for Shiro. Again, if I'm keeping track correctly, I think it is about as difficult as it sounds. So so at this point in time,
It's fine. Just
and there is
imagine
a
Ruby
sparkle.
with fire in the background, with inside of a burning building. It's fine.
And the sparkle is Pale Dim, so that is Group B. So it'll be 3 in Group B for Flurry. If I'm tracking correctly, that's Pale Dim, Dark Elf, and Guards.
The boss is already down. You got Dragon Spear for Flurry, so easy, a very easy fight.
Easy work.
So in this group, I like Yang, and especially because we have J skills enabled. So Yang has this like there's a defensive thing, but I care for the charging thing. And one of the things you can do with Ruby is to with Yang is to just you build up and charge up for his punches so that he doesn't trigger the fire to counterattack for being punched.
Mm-hmm.
That is and Sid can't do any of that. Sid doesn't
he doesn't have the ability to counter that. So
yeah, he has nothing. I mean, Peep is nice. So it works when it does, but it's like it doesn't work for. I don't think it works for bosses. Yeah. So Yang has more utility over Sid. Like when you do one of these kinds of when you pick your characters, oftentimes you want skills are a factor, and whether Japanese skills are enabled because one of the things is Palom, you have bluff, which is a very strong thing where if you want to conserve MP but you want to murder the boss faster, you just use a bluff and you've instantly gained 4 spell multipliers. You get 16 wisdom for every bluff, which is a spell multiplier increase of 4. Yep. So it's very strong, especially if you've arrived at the penultimate spells, or even Quake. Quake is in Virus also benefits from. So
Yep, absolutely. So at Baron, before we get back up to Zot with Flurry, we got the Adamant Rock after fighting, killing off Pale Dim, and then we got the Spoon from Baron Castle proper. So we got 2 different items there at Baron Castle. That brings Flurry up to 7, I believe, if my count's correctly. And then we see Shiro go on the top here. That's because you have the potential of getting key item that the character checks, and that's why we got the Adamant Rock there. But we'll see what we get here. We got 2 character checks at the top of Zot, as well as another boss. So this could wind up being a very lucrative move. Flurry is going to follow suit finally. So you were concerned there a few minutes ago whether Flurry was going to actually go up to Zot or not the way that he routed. He has, in turn, has chosen to go up to Zot. We're skipping our save there. So we've got a red chest and a blue chest. A sand ruby and a glass helm from the top of Zot.
It is worth to do the sand ruby check to see if it's a key item check at the end. So I mean, remember, every character check is can be a replacement of a key item or a regular chest or nothing, because
yep.
You win nothing, sir. Nothing.
So our boss here at the top of Zot. We are looking, let's see, that's a ruby fight off there. We're looking for Octomammoth or Asura if we are Shiro. And we get...
Can't really guarantee all of that.
A Leviathan again. So that's our second Leviathan we've seen.
It probably shouldn't be too bad. I think the issue is the Ice 2, so you probably want to get those casts in quickly. And that lit one, comical, but she's trying.
Got Sid throwing down a Thor Rage. And those Ice 2s you're talking about is Palom hits the dirt. They're not extremely potent, but when you have a party like this that's a little bit light on the HP side at this point in time, those can be absolute nuisances.
It's a gamble. If you're racing, you're gonna gamble. The lit ones, you really want to get Palom alive casting viruses. That's what, or even lit 2 is probably more effective than just. Gotta keep Palom alive. It's one of those things where you want to prioritize, like, who's gonna do the most damage, and in this fight, Palom, you want to keep Palom upright because Palom is probably gonna do the most damage. Kain probably next. I'm not sure Parm has gained enough levels to learn Zerk. Zerk would make at least Sid more productive if you don't want him to use his backup. Because Kane, being in the air probably would be more useful defensively, even if he's not going to be doing more damage while Zerked. But I think the safety is worth it.
Yeah, your lip shoot from Helm, like, you're right. That's 1,000 damage. You're not. I mean, the other 4 of them combined aren't going to put out that kind of damage. So, Kane taking a smooth 1,000 of damage from the ice too. That big wave's going to hurt. I was going to say, Shira has quite a few low HP players on her team. Sylph to bring the HP back up to the ones that are alive, but we're gonna do some triage here.
So one thing to worry when the time you worry about big wave on Leviathan is if anyone is kind of shrugging down and with at least Shiro to defeat Leviathan, both of them about the same time. Shiro slightly ahead. They're in critical state. They're basically less than quarter of their HP left, and that means they're vulnerable to big wave. That's kind of one of those things where you need to get them up. They need to be out of critical state so they'll survive a big wave. But of course, with the Ice 2s being devastating that they are, that makes the entire process difficult. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll see what we get here out of the Tower of Zot as we go back to Cecil's room in Baron. It is a Moonveil.
Not sort of worth it.
It'll be useful later on. We definitely have a couple fights where that could be useful. An Octomammoth in a dirty spot that Moonveil makes it free.
Super punchy spots. Just it is a great utility item for that purpose.
So Flurry's finally going to go do the King Queen fight here. Knock that one off.
It's worth a mention that Sylph is essentially if I recall correctly, it's about the same strength as a virus. And that's about the most you can ask for Iridia. This virus she needs to be at level 26 to learn virus, and at this point probably hasn't reached that level anyway. So having that backhatch join, that's great.
Yep.
I like it when it says when you talk to it and it tells you exactly what the item is too, which is kind of nice.
So we get a package from the Sand Ruby. So that's 7 on Shiru's side. Flurry
probably wants to do the package.
Definitely worth the look. I mean,
at least see if it's a blue chest, and then
yeah. So Flurry's also going to check that Sand Ruby and find that we have a package waiting in the bed for us. That's a red chest.
Probably wait till the boss. If you're going to do the whole thing, you might as well just see if the boss is what you need at the end of it. So you don't have to do it later. But that's up.
Yeah, this could be Octomammoth or Sura, which would help with the Group C. And just because Chaos is on doesn't mean they're going to be in 2 different places. It could be the only place you could find them.
It could be in the last place you look is the last location. If you decide to not do the package boss, that could be where your last sixth boss on one of the two groups happen to be. This can be in one spot. It is always possible. The worst case scenario is the boss is in the worst place, like say Giant or something like that. If you can do it here and now, it's time saved later. So you have to at least peek what's there and then reset if it's not what you're looking for.
Right.
Like the boss checks, you can be as aggressive or you can just say on the way. You're not really in a rush to do objectives in any particular order, but you probably want to do it for either for routing. If you want to do like Harp, Zot, and Baron and all in one sitting, then that's if when you have all the key items for it, go do it then. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do the outside Harp immediately once you first get it. Maybe it's just not worth it.
Right.
So it's just a matter of thinking of where you want to go with these things.
So Flurry's going to check the shops there in the village before activating the package. Not much to note in the armor shop. We're going to check the weapon shop. Still not great either. That's DKC, which is in Group B.
This is free. Oh, very free. This is good.
Very free, and also in Group B in terms of a necessary boss. So, unless I'm mistaken, because I don't think Shiro's done ordeals yet, right? I think Shiro's paid ordeal at this point in time.
Not entirely sure. Someone would remember. But the thing, it's always worth doing
ordeal. So if Shiro goes up and does ordeals, that's Pale Dim, and then using the Baron Key would be Dark Elf. So she would be outside for Mylon Z, the only thing she's missing. So we know we're 5 of the 6 for BR. That would also give her... Golbez was where?
Well, they both bumped into it, so it doesn't matter at this point. It was
Golbez has been. I don't have Golbez ordeals back to. That was ordeals as well. Yeah. Okay, I was going to say because I don't have ordeals marked off for. Or
yeah, so it's definitely ordeals then. Yeah. Probably worth doing ordeals. You have 3 bosses there. Boss, that is like a primary location when you do a boss hunt.
Yep. So here, as we suspect, here she goes. Then I'm gonna mark off 3 bosses there for her. So, by my count, she will be Mylon Z away from Go mode.
So Flurry is, I think, doing the hook route now. Probably will loot. I think maybe do some additional looting, but maybe. I'm not. Oh no, maybe not. I'm never entirely sure. Oh, definitely looting. Probably will try at least loot and get a fight in as well.
Yeah.
So
that character check also would be possible key item.
So yeah, that's probably definitely when you get to a gated shop. So Cave Evelyn is a gated shop. Buy the sirens. Probably sell the farm to get the sirens. Or at least sell some of the junk that you probably don't feel the need to use. So the good thing about these seeds is you do a lot of the J items are available, and apples and Soma drops are available. I find that those items are really important. So especially if you have a Porum, if you want the lowest HP characters need your healing immediately, so you just kind of feed them apples. Soma drops. Definitely good on Tella if you have one. Not I mean, these runners don't have Tella, but I would actually consider giving it to Rydia if you found a Leviathan or Bahamut, because you gotta have to treat her like a Fu or a Tella, where that magic needs to be spent on blogging or washing away all their problems.
There's Odin at Hook 2, so that's not going to help us. And that's a item, not a character check. So yeah, Nuka, I know that Fiber Level answered you there. Yeah, this is called Free Enterprise. This is the randomizer for Final Fantasy IV. And you're actually looking at the alpha version of the Free Enterprise. The regular version out right now is 4.6. This is 5.0. We have a bunch of new stuff that we're showcasing. So your head will probably explode while you're watching this. But yeah. You have the website there in the chat. We have a Discord for you to join as well. If you are a Final Fantasy IV fan, this is definitely a trip down memory lane, and it's a lot of fun to try out and play. So stick with us while you can. We'll try to answer your questions, or chat maybe will answer your questions as well, if you have any. As we see Flurry heading down the hook route here to see who's at hook 1. We know Odin's at hook 2. Which is our second not required boss that we've seen outside of Leviathan, as Shiro takes down Golbez and knocks out Objective Group A on her side.
This shouldn't be too bad for Shiro having more power. Probably could have done it earlier, but you make decisions. It happens. I just think that the XP in hubs is good enough to just come directly here, like instead of don't pass go, just come here instead, because then your characters become reasonably powerful with 3 bosses. Well, I guess the third boss being 0 XP, but unless it's a gauntlet, in which case then you get XP, which is kind of nice.
Yep, it's always nice. So Shira's going to find the Dark Elf here. So again, she will have... Sorry, this is not the Dark Elf, this is the Pale Dim, I'm sorry.
Should be an easier time, at least.
Yeah. So this would be 4 off for B here. We have... that's Rubicund at hook 1. So,
super punchy, but no...
Unfortunately, the hook's only just giving us a route underground. Neither boss helped. Character trick didn't help. So this is just our route underground.
It is worth noting that, if I recall correctly, I think Force Hook doesn't mean the Mammoth Peak doesn't exist. It just means that you're guaranteed a hook, and maybe if there's a Magma Key wouldn't be gated behind... I think won't be gated behind certain bosses, I think, is the case.
Yeah, that is correct, as far as what I understand as well. So, yeah, so Odin will be our second non-required boss. I've lost count of how many stops we've seen already, though. I think we're at 13? 13 or 14 bosses so far.
I think mostly there. There will still be more. You have to get to the underground before you consider what's left. That's what.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, the tower key's in play for Shiru. So that's a full clear of tower.
Yeah, it probably is a safe bet if you want to do tower immediately after doing the hook route. But I think Flora needs a save. Needs to probably set up for that fight. Shouldn't be too bad. I'm surprised Flora tried to use Ice 2. Virus probably would have been a safer bet. Quake could ideally would be using Quake, but Virus would have been a safe alternative. Don't want to heal it. Trying not to heal Ruby. I mean, timing probably not quite right. Though notably in 5.0, there are some. I think it was like a fast ROM adjustment, so the text get faster, so the battle speed is also a little bit different. So probably didn't quite time the Ice 2 when the cloak was off. So
right. So Nuka, the way the randomizer works is by default, random encounters are toggled off, and you get additional experience from the boss fights, so that you're not having to play 10 hours through the entire game. Generally speaking, when you first start out and learning and going the basic flag sets, will probably take you about 2.5 to 3 hours to get through the entire game. But as you'll see, we have seasoned runners that have been playing this for a while. We're looking at hour and a half, traditionally speaking. But yeah, you won't see the runners taking random encounters except for specific situations that might actually require them to do so. What you will see them doing, and we'll see that a little bit later, and we'll explain a little bit more then, is you'll see players use sirens to take on the rarest fights of the area to allow them to gain additional experience outside of just the boss fights. So we'll go into more detail about that when we see that happen, as we see Flurry taking on Odin on his side, and Shiru has entered Baron Castle to take on Dark Elf and knock out objective number 5 on the B side. So Odin down.
Yeah, just getting Yang zerked with a Thunderclaw pretty much did most of the work. So that was you gotta make sure that when you do the zerking, make sure to zerk the best zerker to punch away the situation, because
maximize the damage.
Because Kane wouldn't have done enough. I think he had the Dragoon Spear, probably one of his strongest weapons, but not a lightning elemental, and Odin is extra weak to thunder, so it's instead of the double damage multiplier, it's a quad multiplier, which makes a difference. I didn't see
that's Antlion at the top of tower, so that's our third non-required boss.
Probably worth immediately doing it, though. I think I prefer to do castle, the dwarf castle immediately, though, because warp glitch is enabled, so you can loot the back of Sealed Cave, because mechanically it makes no sense, but it does actually. You kind of walk to the back of it because it just works out that way.
Yeah, and in this case, it's nice too because you got 2 boss checks. You've got a character check, which could be key item as well. You've got the key item check in Dwarf Castle itself. You've got the key item in Sealed Cave via the warp. So that's 5 checks right there potentially that are there. In addition to that, you get to have Rydia grow up and get some more spells. So I think this is probably the plan. On Flurry's side, because we're having Rydia just hang out, maybe not as big of a deal.
But yeah, the opportunities are there. That's why I prefer Dwarf Castle in this particular flag set. It's just even with a tower key, you don't. I mean, towerless key runs is a thing, but there's just a lot more opportunity. Just how the flags combined have set this up.
And I don't recall seeing who Dwarf 2 is. I know we went to the top of Zot, but I don't recall being who it was.
I think it feels like Mega Sisters, but I'm not sure. It feels like something we probably shouldn't have to worry about, really, if I'm not mistaken, because the spot itself is not very strong. The Golbus spot isn't very strong. It's like it has 3,000 HP. Yeah, and punches are not a threat. The spell power is non-existent. So
I just wasn't sure if it's one of the bosses we haven't seen yet that we need, but I don't think.
I don't think it is. I think it's something we've already seen. Which is probably why it's easy to blank out on it.
So Octomammoth is not. I mean, it's definitely punchy at this spot. This is not a fun spot for Octomammoth, but it's relatively easy with the party we have and the levels we have thus far. But you definitely need to have your cure game on top right here.
The threat of Octomammoth is if you knock him 3 times initially, just do 3 times damage, it just becomes really slow. It's just the weakness of the spot. I think every time Octomammoth gets punched, it becomes incredibly slow. So it just doesn't become a threat that you think it would be.
And that is the Darkness Crystal that we got in Rydia's spot. In the character spot in Dwarf Castle. And there's the Nope Rope. So, in all places see Nope Rope, this is not great because you don't get a chance to heal between fights, is the problem. Now, luckily, our party was in decent shape here, so we're not going to feel the burn as much from this attack, and should be quite easy. But if Shiro doesn't end up as lucky going through Dwarf Castle fight, you could see a wipe here. This is.
No, the punches are. No,
I'm talking about Shiro going with not having a full health party like Flurry does. Because you don't get an opportunity to heal even first step before Ogopogo throws that wave out. So.
Yeah, surprise Ogos are kind of devastating when you. It's just especially on, this is like
the fun one's the cannon room. Yeah. The cannon room's a fun one. When you're just like, okay, I just want to walk off the cannon room real quick, and you just run through Sylph Cave, you got no health, and you're like,
nope, I made a mistake already. Didn't heal up. Yep. Yeah, it's like the lowest HP damage spot, like not of all of the spots, but of the spots in more difficult places. That's a kind of a joke HP spot because it's supposed to be where 3 Dark Imps, and 3 Dark Imps have less than 600 HP combined, which is kind of hilarious, but also sad when you see really bad bosses show up in that spot.
All right, so we had an Artie Bow from the Dwarf Castle. Not terrible, but not what we were looking for. And a curse. Okay, there you go. So there's a curse string. That is. That can be very useful. Now, granted, Flurry has had Rydia on the ground for an entire time, but we have Bahamut Orb now. Do we start slingshotting Rydia now and just give her a curse ring? Do we put a curse ring on somebody else? What's your play here?
You got Darkness. You could do a super grind if you really wanted to, because Darkness was picked up, so you could just go do not necessarily D Machine Grind. No, D Machine Grind requires a Tela. You can do a Mac Giant Grind But I don't know.
We
I
know
feel like
Flurry's got
in this
six-
flex set, you don't want to
fire
really
weapons.
do that.
Yeah,
I feel like you
Flurry's
just keep doing bosses. This makes more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Nuka, D-Lunars, everybody in this community would tell you that's me and D-Lunars have a interesting relationship, say the least. I'm the most probably vocal person hating to see D-Lunars at any boss fight in this game, but I've worked very strongly to overcome that challenge. But yeah, they're definitely pain.
They're nice D-Lunars. You just have to use Star Veils, magic.
The amount of work I had to do to learn. There's a Dragoon Spear there at the Feymarch freebie. Yeah, I had to put in some serious work to learn how to take out the D-Lunars in various spots. So I definitely put my time in.
I think the breath part is probably the most lucrative, especially when you're underpowered or in a bad spot. Because I know D-Lunars, they're they're interesting because they have weaknesses that you can exploit, but it has to be like where you're in this right situation. Oh, this is super free. It's mostly free.
Group C though for Flurry, that Asura is. So Flurry just needs Asura for Group C. Can't take her now, I guess. And yeah, and Falcon actually put it in their chat as well. And Shiro's mile on Z away, so. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just wanted to point out when we saw this.
Oh no, that was fine. I'm thinking. So you want to take on the Azure at that spot? The Leviathan spot is super punchy, but her healing is a joke unless you get to the Q4 side of things. You can probably take advantage of doing double Star Veil on the same character, so you get a wall on the boss. Getting wall for Porum is a sad state of affairs. Rosa's like 30 something, 34. So I would say, but for Porum it's I think it's like 40. It's a sad level. It's 40 or 44. It's not a So what you really want to do is just you get all the. I think that I was a rune ring shop in one of the shops. Just go buy all the rune rings. Outside of Kane, who can't equip a rune ring, Kane, if you can find an Aegis shield, that is enough, and that will get most of the way there. But it looks like it's going to be an egg grind, and probably because it has 10 key items to do it. So might probably do a grind before taking on the Zura, which is not a bad thing to do. And probably will.
I was going to answer Nuka's question in chat real quick. Forgot to do it further. Adamant armor is in the game. Traditionally, you can still get it from the pink tail turn-in. And some
no. Well, it's not. Well, there are flags that normally allow to, but I think you want in free enterprise, especially when the no adamants is enabled. You'd have to.
That's what I was going to get to. There's a flag, and there that actually turns them off entirely. So.
No. They're still there. They can drop. It's just that you'd have to get the super rarest drop from the pink puffs. Like the pink tail will normally drop, but since it's a key item, it can't be a drop. So it's just literal. You get an adamant armor, but you'd have to actually get it to drop.
I was going through the process of explaining all that in a row because it's a brand new player to free enterprise. So, but yeah, you can still get them from drops. We could turn them off to where you won't get it from the pink tail drop, which is the case from this particular flag set. Sorry, that was probably a lot of information at once.
Just pretend it doesn't exist for the seed, because it doesn't exist in this seed, for as far as we're concerned. Pink tail will drop. Pink adamant armor. We will end the stream if adamant armor drops. Let's put it this way.
As we see Shiro take on, I believe this is the third chest now that she's taken on. I saw she took on one earlier. The egg grind you're seeing on the left on Flurry's side, this is the time where you will see runners taking on your quote-unquote random encounters. This is a prime spot that you'll see. The sirens in this spot underground will trigger the egg, which is the most rare and most lucrative XP spot down here. So you'll see runners come here and just pop siren after siren to gain a lot of this experience. The couple of things of note on this particular flag set, each objective that has been completed gives our runners a 5% XP boost on top of what they would normally gain from the fight. In addition, the fact that Flurry has 10 key items, which is additional double XP compounded. Good at math, not great at math off the top of my head. It's a lot of XP. So that's why you're going to see Flurry go through here and crack some eggs, as we call it, by using sirens, to make sure he gets his party up to a higher level so he can go take on Ashura and finish out the seed.
Flurry's not interested in getting Rydia and making it interesting, but alright, that's fine. It's like, you just need, decided Rydia is the best anchor, apparently. I mean, it is a thing. I prefer not to have anchors taking a nap unless they're, but you know, that's people want to do the thing. It's fine. I like it to be interesting. Rydia, low level Rydia. I mean, Rydia, like level 1 Rydia is like 4 agility, so it's lowest of all characters possible. So like, and that's without a cursed ring. So that's.
Yeah. So let's talk about agility real quick, because we know we do have new people in the chat, what have you. So in the vanilla version of Final Fantasy IV, Cecil is what we call your agility anchor, meaning his agility determines how fast, relative to him, your party acts, and how fast the enemies act, in terms of who goes in which order, which turn. In Free Enterprise, we have a couple different ways we counter that, because Cecil, as you can see, is not always in your party. But there are a couple different flags we can use to alter how the agility is determined. Now, vanilla, or I won't say vanilla, but let's say basic Free Enterprise, your agility is determined by who's in the middle slot, the middle center slot there where Rydia is taking a nap now on Flurry's side. So whatever her agility is, the characters and the enemies in relation to her agility determines what order the characters act. So it is a 301 level class for Free Enterprise, but it's one of the most important things to learn in this game if you actually decide to take up racing it on a regular basis.
It's fundamental. Though, let's just to be clear, it's not really restricted to the middle slot. It just happens to be the most convenient. So if you have less characters, you're not restricted to the middle slot, and there's a good reason for that. Like say Rosa's aim bug, where if you put her in the middle, aim overflows, accuracy. Because that's just how the math works. But it's basically there's a set order of, like, if characters had a first strike or preemptive strike, there's an order of which a party operates. So it's the middle slot, topmost slot, bottommost slot, top middle, and then bottom middle is in that order. If you're not sure what it is, if you see the save slot, when you save, you see the order of your party, that is the order in which the game determines who goes first, if their agility were the same. So that's the way of looking at it. But agility, you want when you consider your anchor, you almost always want a slow anchor. Sometimes there might be instances where your anchor is like Edge in Sea Hero Seeds, where that can be can seem difficult and chaotic, but you in the best of cases you want to have your character anchor with ideally with a curse ring, as you see Flurry put one on Rydia, because why not? It helps a lot because anyone that at least it's like 2.5 times the speed of the anchor will basically have an instant turn. Now, while the enemies don't quite, it will still be fast, but won't get quite the benefits that your group will. So it's always it's better to have your anchor set. Have it ready like towards the mid to late game where everything comes fast, and if you don't have your anchor set, you don't know how your turns will end up and how many more turns your enemy will have.
So we see the Staleman box checked in the hook route on Shiru's side. Unfortunately for her, Flurry has already done some grinding, is ready to go, basically taking on the last boss that he needs in Group B to get the crystal, which we will then head to the Zeramus fight, because we have the pass. The pass in Free Enterprise, which you would normally get in the Troya pub to go see the wonderful dance for 10,000 gold. The pass is actually an item in Free Enterprise, which allows you in that same Troya pub to go directly to the Z fight at the end of the game, not having to go to the moon. So you'll see that in action here very shortly once Flurry knocks out this last boss here in Fate March. So
I honestly don't know when that was ever added, but it's nice. Nice that it exists, because
yeah, I mean,
no one wants that trek down to the LST from the beginning. It's a walk, and it's while memorable, but not something you want to be doing every seed.
Well, yeah, at this point in time, we'd have to raise the whale, then we'd have to do the quote-unquote character check that we don't know if it's going to be at this point in time because Sea Urn is not on. Then we have to walk down Sea. Yeah, you're talking a good solid 6-7 minutes as opposed to taking the pass.
I think it's more like 3 minutes, and that's on a good
between the cutscene.
Oh no! The whole sequence of things. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm just talking about the walk. A 3-minute walk from the big entrance without any interruption is a little less than 3 minutes, and that's a lot of time in racing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm talking about having to go to Mysidia, raise the whale in that cutscene. Go ahead and go up there. The little quick cutscene when you're quote unquote find the character at the Lunar Palace. And then walk down there. Yeah, that's a lot. So Flurry now is in go mode. That is what we call ready to go fight Zeramus. In this flag set, it was completing Group A and either Group B or C, which is either group of 6 bosses. So something that is interesting about Free Enterprise is we have objectives that generally drive how our game is played. Instead of just going through the storylines normally would, and instead of saying, okay, find your way to get the crystal in Zeramus, we have objectives which are different goals you have to do in order to get that crystal. And in some flag sets, you don't even have to do the crystal or Zeramus. You just do the objectives and you win. So it's a lot of different nuances, a lot of different ways to play the game, which is absolutely fascinating. Makes each and every time you play this a new run. So we see Flurry using that pass, which unlocks the door, and this is when, if you're new to Free Enterprise, you would normally see some flags in chat, but we don't see any for whatever reason. That's kind of odd, isn't it?
I don't know.
There's some flags.
There. I mean, well, look, it's that time in the night where we probably should be sleeping. I think that's what I think that's supposed to tell us, right?
That's not what it means. What it means is that Free Enterprise is a Final Fantasy IV randomizer. But we can't, we'll randomize where the treasures are, randomize where the characters are, the key items, the bosses, but we can't randomize where Zeramus is located. As was mentioned earlier, Zeramus is way too strong to be anywhere else in the game. So instead, we call upon the members of the Free Enterprise community to create hundreds upon hundreds of sprites to replace what Zeramus looks like at the end of the game. So it's become customary, a tradition, if you will, to ask a question every time we get to this point of the game. And what is that question, Deathlike?
Whose butt are we going to kick tonight? Of course, we get plenty of other questions. We got plenty of other questions like, is it cute? Does it have a butt? And so many questions. Hats. No, who doesn't want a hat?
So we can see momentarily, as you do still have to use the crystal in order to activate Zeramus, as you would in the vanilla game. But here's where it's going to change. And nobody knows who this is till you get to this point in the game. And we do not have a list of who these sprites are. It's a well-kept secret. This time it is Kakamas from, that's Super Mario World, yeah?
It's probably more like Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, the comic. Could probably even used elsewhere, but I'm pretty sure Yoshi's Island is where that's from. But good, and very good drawing. I think Board and mostly Scala has done quite a bit of the images. It's like over 500. I don't know. I don't have an exact number. I know it's a really large number because I haven't seen them all. And frankly, why should I know? Why should I know what they all are?
Yeah. So let's talk about the Z fight real quick. Just to kind of do a rundown over it. The Z fight if you're playing vanilla Final Fantasy 4, you really don't think about it too much unless you've done a lot of research on the game. But generally, your goal here is I'm just going to beat him up as fast as I can. And does this Big Bang thing that's terrible. Well, you're going to see our party do some really, neat tricks to kind of manipulate how this fight's done. So we saw in the beginning where we had one of the party members cast a spell directly at Zeramus, and that activated a counter nuke against our party. And what that does is that actually, when the Big Bang occurs, nerfs it based off of the way the spell powers calculated and timed within the system. So you see that only did about 800 to 900 damage on every single one of these characters, as opposed to as large as 22 to 2400 as it can get in normal Big Bang. So there's some strategy involved here, and you'll see any spells that are cast in order to avoid that counter nuke are being bounced off of a wall in order to be able to do the damage but not trigger the counter nuke. So there's some strategy involved in this that if you aren't involved in the randomizer at all, you don't really think about it. But it's really neat to learn.
Yeah, the first Big Bang nerf, on the magic power set on the count on the actual reaction, the nuke reaction. So I think the spell multiplier for the counter nuke is 4. So due to how Big Bang works, you're guaranteed that the Big Bang always guarantees that at least one spell multiplier hit is applied to all your characters, so you'll always be dealt some damage. But in the best case, you'll be taking something like 200 damage. In the worst case, you can be dealt up to 1200 points of damage, which is a very specific number for specific strats. But I think the spell power of Big Bang is 200. So when randomized, because of it gets like up to 50% boost in spell power. So 300 can be its top level damage. It can be pretty devastating, especially if under full power, and you really don't want to trigger full power Big Bang, because then you need higher levels. But I think we have endgame levels party members, so they'll be able to soak the damage. But if you taking it, but I think Flourish is doing hybrid strats, and with that means Berserkers doing their thing, punching and reflecting spells, which is a very, very common way of just making sure you're not taking additional damage ultimately, because those nukes do add up singularly, and that Big Bang I don't think was nerfed, so this might hurt.
Alright, we see Shiru healing up underground, likely going ahead and taking on this Fame Arch set of bosses. Nope, we're gonna go ahead and do our eggs now.
Don't quite think has the same number of key items. We'll still benefit from all the objectives, so that should help the multiplier, but it's not quite the same. Ideally, when you do your grind, you try to get your key items. Probably makes sense to do maybe a few of them to get really important to more survivable levels to take on the Dwarf Castle and get some of the key items, which is pretty massive.
10. I just don't know which she's missing. She's got 10 key items based off the way the experience.
Oh, there's 10. Okay,
yeah,
that's good. That's all you really need when you really grind, because double XP is nothing to scoff at. It's kind of where you want to be at most of the time.
Yeah, and Fulgrim's had like 65 things to have to track today, so at this point in time, it's a fantastic job that he's doing. But yeah, she's at 10. She's getting double experience now, which is why she's waited till now to do her egg grind. So again, so Medio is coming down on Flurry's side. We'll take a pause at eggs real quick. Medio is the last phase of the Z fight, even in vanilla, but this is a very clear indicator that we're down to the last little bit here. A few last attacks, and we're done.
It's a little over 10,000 HP, when that starts to happen. So, okay, once in a while, like a Big Bang into rocks, as said before, can be devastating when those two things happen in sequence. But that should be enough.
That is enough. That's it. GG to Flurry. Hour 11 and change. That is our time there. Now we are showing two runners here. Oh, that is the only 2 runners we had tonight. Oh, sad face. I thought we had more runners tonight. I was gonna go back to the race room and see who we had left. Yeah, hour 11. For those who are newer to the community, Flurry is one of our veterans and top runners. So this is a solid time. Shiru is having a fantastic run as well. It's just a matter of the routing choices sometimes is the difference in run. So
it felt the routing probably was okay. I think wanted to do like Castle Evelyn did one more looting for more XP. Like wasn't comfortable with the hook route as my like you like. Oftentimes you just want to be over prepared and not have to worry about the boss, whoever that may be. Sometimes it's worth just doing all the looting in Cave Evelyn and peek at what that boss is before making a determination. Maybe I need to do more grinding, which would probably cut a bit of time. But you don't know what the boss is, so you're not. I think and Odin being a pretty tough boss. I mean, I think I saw piece of the fight and saw Odin actually doing Odin's thing. Didn't actually kill him because was very reasonably over level to absorb the Odin tech, which is about the same as a Quake hit.
Yep. And there is our race champion now, Flurry. Welcome and GG.
Thanks.
So 5.0 flag set. I know you've run several of these, but we haven't showcased it very much here on the community race night. How does it feel running a 5.0 flag set versus our standard 4.6?
Honestly, one of the 2 main differences isn't actually on in this flag set, which is fast ROM. I think I run all of them with fast ROM on. But the KCHAR stuff, man, is pretty rad. Even though I still managed to get a hook route, great.
Well, that was forced. Changed. That was forced, so you were getting that regardless.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the crit text. That's pretty rad. I think the experience multiplier displaying on screen is really helpful. Sea-Wish is pretty neat. I watched Inven run these flags yesterday and chuckled at him not throwing up the Starvel right away on Golbez because, like, hey, Ybez is on. Get your S-Grunt Ybez in chat. You should probably remember that for next time. And then I did the exact same thing.
Nice. Yeah, that happens. The KCHAR flag. So that's something. So I want to talk about like the Sand Ruby and the package, and that's those checks that you don't necessarily normally go check. You're going to check those with this flag on now, are you?
Yeah, I think for sure key item, from a key item perspective, the package one still might not be like the best time investment if you have other options. Sand Ruby is fine. I thought about checking the monster in that one. I was like, surely it's not demist.
It was DKC.
So. Oh, was it DKC?
Yep, it was DKC.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. So on that topic, was that a deciding factor in going up to Zot? Because I know you sort of bounced back and forth. Like you went and did the treasury, then you went back to Baron. I was like, well, is he going to do Zot? Is he not going to do Zot? Was the KCHAR flag a factor in making that decision, or was that just happen to be what you routed today?
Oh, for sure. I think on KCHAR you almost never skip Zot. It's 3 checks. That'd be very, very risky to not do so.
Gotcha. I think the only other one that was kind of new and interesting is the B Chaos flag. Now it seemed like because of course we had 14 required bosses on this flag set, it just felt like every single boss you couldn't reset out of. Does that change your thought process? I mean, it feels like it's a boss hunt whichever way you look at it, but I mean, does that factor in at all the way you're routing?
Yeah, I expected it to be a little, for the percentage of the boss being like an actual objective boss, to be higher. But was a lot more than I was expecting going in. So like I'd have to play with this flag set a couple more times to check for sure, but it really did feel like a high percentage of bosses were one of the 12, 14, however many bosses that we had to look for. And I guess like from an outside perspective, that made, and thinking back on it a little bit, made passing up on the package boss even more risky, because what if that's Milan Z in the Fey March?
Yeah, that's yeah, because I think we counted between your run and Shiru's run, we only had 3 non-required bosses we've seen. We saw Odin, we saw Leviathan, and we saw
Antlion is at the top of the tower.
Antlion, that's what it was. The Antlion at the top, yeah. So those were the ones we had seen. Oh, that's right. Ogo. That's right. The Ogo that showed up at Dwarf 2. That was fun.
Glad he's there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. To your point, of course you can have multiple bosses, but it felt like everything was a multiple boss. I think it just has to come down to probabilities, and I don't know the math behind it, so.
But I think that's pretty neat, right? Because the biggest pain point of boss hunts has always been if you just had that one boss in that one bad location, you were gonna 100%, 105% seed.
Yep.
And now it feels like with BKOS, that's much less likely, especially on this flag set. Would love to do a little bit more exploration on that particular front, but for flag set design purposes, that being a much bigger help and alleviating that pain point is pretty noticeable, I think, and very much a good thing.
One last question, I'll throw it over to Deathlight, because I know he's probably got a couple for you as well. The scaffolded or laddered objectives. Is that something that you find yourself? I mean, are you taking notes to figure out which ones you have to knock off, which boss or which list as a runner? How are you keeping track of that?
So it's literally the reason I made a second version of my tracker was figuring out not just to have it there, but also just to figure out the logic of deriving the requirements and the objectives and the sets from the flag set only. It seemed like a pretty fun challenge. So that's kind of how I've gotten that to work. I know there's a couple other folks who have been doing really good work with some of the tracker stuff. That's kind of how I go about it. I've had a fair amount of time now to play around with the 5.0 alpha to get, like, from a mental preparation perspective, it not seeing too foreign, but every once in a while, like, there's just so many possibilities that you can do with these objective sets that, it feels like we're getting something new almost every time. But yeah, I made a tracker specifically to handle that.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded mine to 5.0 yet. I've got the flag set working, but I don't have the tracker. Appreciate it, GG's. Deathlike, what do you have for Flurry?
Oh, I have a seed for you, Flurry.
Oh no, better not be hook right.
No. Let's say it's based on this flag set. I'll just say that your A requirement is on the worst place possible, and you're finding it, and Moon is especially spicy, but also something. Because you'll be like, why did this exist? Because that's that 5% that will show up, and we're like, why is that boss here? Why? Well,
and that's kind of where that comes from, right? As far as like just it could be in a really easy spot with Fubu Gauntlet, or it could be Ogo Pogo Gauntlet or Crystal Sword Gauntlet, and you're like, oh well. You could also like make the decision of, am I gonna pass this up and hope it shows up again, and then have it appear in a second time on the Moon? God, that would be hilarious on commentary if that actually happened.
Oh, yeah, it's.
But yeah, I think. Yeah, it's pretty cool how that can go back and forth.
So I think in your Ruby fight, I forget which one, you cast Ice 2. I'm not sure if the fast rum changes made any difference, or your timing of your Ice 2 trying to get that within the when he's exposed, like without the cloak. That I was surprised you just didn't go using virus and just hope for just not ignore trying to expose the weakness there.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of trying to get a little cute when it comes to particular fights if there's like a very specific answer. In that case, I was like, oh, I can run buffer and ice 2 out there. Watch me do this. And then it didn't happen. I was like, or I could have cast Quake for 50% of his health. And then I see, I think on that particular fight, Kane came down with an Ice Brand crit because I had forgot to change equipment on Kane for the first round. Boy, that sure didn't happen again later in the season, did it? But, and he came down with like a 6k crit and would have one-shot him anyway. So yeah, I will have a tendency to make some fights harder than they need to be.
I'm just happy jumps can actually show it crits because it's just not possible in a normal jump. And
Yep.
nice quality of life without trying to crits being like flashes and in the normal game having a yellow tinted numbers. That's really nice to see. Just see it going.
Yeah, and there was like a vanilla bug per se where equipping a certain, I want to say it's like a samurai bar or something like that, but equipping something means you won't actually see the visual cue for the flash on a crit. So I feel like that was a little janky in FF4 anyway. But yeah, it's a really great quality of life. I love it.
One more question. I think it was there with the party building early on. I'm sure you when you took a look at the characters and made your decisions. So how do you like the new system and how and talk about the decision on how you built your party?
So admittedly, I'm not as much of a fan of getting all your characters at once. I don't think there's necessarily one great and correct answer, but it will tend to lead toward one direction, usually pretty solidly. In my case, I just wanted two good fighters. Thought about taking Tella just for the early exit, but I knew I was going to need an anchor at some point. And sure enough, Rydia was there, which meant I was going to get Bahamut, which happened twice. That was fantastic. But yeah, Tella for the early exit, and if I think like it's worth it to grab the Tella there and either A, find a curse ring, or B, just go back and get someone else later, is a chance. Do you want to take the risk on the Bahamut or sure, which I probably should have done for the Zeromas fight, but I was just feeling lazy. So
I mean, you already most of the way there. Why bother? Why get?
yeah, exactly.
Anything you want to add about this particular flag set, or any or any particular behavior of this seed?
No, I think this was I think FPL came up with this one, if I remember right. Really good job on this flag set. This is pretty fun and a good example of how the 5.0 flags can affect a boss hunt in a way that makes them a little less infuriating. So I think that's pretty awesome and would love to do this one again.
But GG's again, Flurry. Lots more. I'm hoping for more quality of life being added.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate y'all taking the time to volunteer for this for the community race. And yeah, y'all have a good night. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It looks like Shiru is taking on the Sura fight down in Feymarch, and I believe this will give her the crystal.
Probably the final fight. I think. I mean, happening to Flurry is probably not too far. I mean, it's nice that you didn't have to go up to the moon to do any of the work. I mean, I think I've run enough seas where I ended up having to go to the moon. This seed being pretty generous, not having to require that. Because I've done enough seas where I had to fight every possible boss and still had to go to the moon.
Yeah.
So this shouldn't be too bad.
No, this isn't a formality. We just have to get the wall up. And then we'll be good to go. I'm guessing. Yeah, we already have the wall up on Palom, so we're just going to bounce some nukes off and come away.
Try not to trigger counter attack. The wall, like when I talk about the Star Veil trick, it's mostly because Star Veil only, applies wall to the character that uses it. So, which is why that. But when you have direct access to the spell itself, you can just apply wall anywhere and not have to worry about it. So I think Shiro did the grind, and so shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, this is formality at this point in time. We're knocking out this to get the crystal. And we're in a fantastic position to go ahead and go to Troya, use the pass, and go take on Z ourselves. So again, I think it was noted in chat, and I think you may have noted as well. I think the big turn of events here in terms of time was the fact that Shiro did do some more. There's our wall wearing off. Sid.
I thought that was the walls instead of was a pallet, but yeah, it's whatever.
That's okay. With Shiro taking on some more looting as well as doing the Eblin Castle fights. That's the big time difference here. So don't fault Shiro for doing it. Obviously, Eblin Castle is a big source of power. I think with Earth Crystal and already doing the treasury and seeing there really wasn't a lot of value there, that might have factored into saying, okay, maybe I do need to take a couple of these, see if I can spike a white spear, spike a Stardust Rod, something. But yeah, that definitely was a factor in the time difference.
I find that in these seeds, I know that Castle Eblin is a common place when you're feeling underpowered, you feel underpowered, underwhelmed. You probably want to do it for the loot and the experience. I think for all the seeds I've at least created for myself, just to test just to see what this flag set's about. I've never had to do any of. I've never looted Castle Eblin. I've looted Cave Eblin all the time. I've looted even the Tower Zot going towards the hook, going through the hook route. So, but never really had to. So maybe I've just been fortunate. But it's probably because the hook boss is usually a determining factor more often than not.
Yeah.
But you're also incentivized to doing a boss hunt, so you're good at killing bosses and getting the XP you need anyways. So
right.
I think if you just do the kind of the sort of force grinding, if probably not fade mount Hobbs too early, just do it, because I think the burst experience at Hobbs is probably good, even if the Hobbs. Ordeals is a big spot, but Hobbs, as your first experience.
Oh yeah. Okay. As you were saying, yep.
Yeah. Like, because you gets you a lot of levels, especially with this flag set. You get 4 levels on your twins, and that's usually enough to get them online. Like, if the twins are online, like with 3-4 levels, your Rosa, Rydia. I think Rydia gets like level 14 immediately. I think which is kind of incredible, because I usually think I see her getting like 10 level up to level 10 normally, and in Free Enterprise 5, the alpha, this is with I think with the experience tweaks, the flags, the experience flag tweaks, that has moved gotten Rydia up to learning Toad and Warp, which is kind of important for like early game. When you're trying to save some time in the early game, if you're doing some extra looting, if you want to do extra looting.
No, yeah, I agree, and Falgren's chiming in as well. It definitely gets you a little bit level range, and yeah, I've felt that the hard way. Starting off with someone like a Rydia Porum duo to start off the game, and you run into say a Val at Hobbs. That's very, very sad face. So yeah, if you can get through Hobbs and get that added experience right off the bat, that's definitely huge. Oh, let's hope this this restream.
It's fine.
Still.
It's fine. It looked like it was destabilizing, but the Twitch do what our overlords are doing. That's fine. Yeah. It's normal. It's fine.
All right, so Shiro taking her stab at Z.
When you do the grind, most of the work is just making sure you do your timing correctly and hope you don't accidentally nuke or white someone and it'll happen. It'll continue to happen. So don't. Still worth doing. Maybe lowering the battle speed sometimes. Just like think the default battle speed in Free Enterprise is 1.
Yeah.
Because races want it that way. probably. But if you're not comfortable, especially with more difficult things, lowering it to 2, especially when you have more spellcasters on your team.
Oh, I ran it 3.
Oh, 3 is 3 is like 3 is the standard vanilla speed, and it's like it is a bit.
Well, I mean, as a new runner, 3 is a good speed to learn on too.
It is. No, it is. It's a safe speed. It's the standard speed. But you should. But also know that 6 is a good number when you have really, really naughty fights. Like there will be fights like that.
The reason why they call it Wyvern Standard Time for a reason, right?
Yeah. Because you need to get your Star Veils off, and whoever is your anchor gets nuked anyway. So, yeah, you. I have rolled a seed where there were more wyverns blarging all day, all night. It was, and I had to actually remember where the Star Veils were being sold because I was starting to run out of them. That was not a good time.
Not a fun experience. Not one you would recommend.
But but you can see because especially with B Chaos. Unleashes the wyvern. It could be Val, it could be Golbez, it could be Alt Gauntlet. You don't know what the game decided, or I'm not even sure if it's weighted at all. Like
you will see me forfeit so fast if I catch like a 4th D Lunar in my seed. I'm just going to just reset. Done.
I would like to sell you on our Lord and Savior Starveil.
I've learned how to do it all. I've learned how to do it all. I still ache and whine about it because I've lost a few races because of it. But it is. Yeah,
I always find
an experience.
So, only a few tips because I know that fight well only because I hate the viruses. But I mean, besides the Star Veils, if you can crush a D Lunar in one hit, you. Crystal Sword Cecil is usually.
Well, yeah, I'm not afraid you were then. I'm afraid like Crystal Vessel. I'm just okay, fine.
But I know that. There's also you can also just aggressively take them on if they're in a weak spell spot. Virus has a spell power base of like a 128, so. That's like the same damage as those blade men in Cave Evelyn. They're not Cave Evelyn. Oh, not Cave Evelyn. I think it's in the Towers Off, the lower area. They're not. That's virus at those levels are not scary. They're nuisance level, I would say. And the other thing I think I would say is. Outside of Magic, when you build your party, Kane and Yang just avoids the entire trigger altogether.
Yeah,
there's a punch.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to get around. There's 3 or 4 ways to do the fight. And as a newer runner, I think it is. They are one of the more difficult boss scripts to get your head around as a new runner, because most fights you can say, okay, it's going to do A, so you do B. When it does B, you do C, and you go through the fight that way. D Lunars, because you have to almost work it backwards almost, to where you're like, okay, you don't want to just mash in the face because it will do this. You can't sit there and wait for it for days because then it will do this. It definitely stretches the skill set of a newer runner.
Yeah, it's unfamiliarity. Yeah. I know. I totally get that. And Rita gets. Oh, that's a really big wipe.
No.
That should be. Well, try to get Porm up and then not worry about everything else. Surprised Sid fell, but that's probably because this is probably a much later event.
Well, Sid had just taken a nuke, so he was low on health. So
probably the Q4 is enough. Probably this is good enough. Rydia might try to get Rydia, but this is more than enough. Kane, and Palom
back up and.
Yeah, just try again.
That's a good move. Now the question is, do you try to go ahead and nerf this? You just saw the shape.
It's too late. But even then, if best thing to do is use if you wanted to nerf it, use a Silk Web. If you always worth buying in any scene, Silk Web would help things out. They're surviving, but not kind of hanging by a thread. Probably will need to use some Cure 3 potions, usually available in most seeds, but not always. I think trying to get the reflect kill and use Kane as the healer, which is fine. Probably you don't need more than, you don't need two. One is fine, good, and you want to reduce the effect of the split because the Cure 4 split is kind of hefty depending on the number of characters still alive. That's a few more dead, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. We've got this though. I mean, this is an exercise as a runner and not panicking, is what this is.
So on the revive, need to do the Cure 4. I'm wondering if there's some
Well, we can't do Cure 4
Zerks.
because Kane still has wall on. So at this point in time,
There's a black hole. There was a black hole.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's probably want to revive another character or try to Zerk. I don't know. Doing reflex. Still want to do reflex strats. Okay.
There's another shake.
But that's a problem. Your spell to do the damage should not be something that has a long delay. That's why Palamoridia would have been a better choice. But this is fine. Poor might die, but this is wow. That's toughing it out. I think with standard Big Bang damage, unless you want to buff Z's spell power, the cap is at 2700. So Porum is the one gonna heal
There we
up.
go.
But
There we
enough.
go. Okay.
That's all. That's enough. We had enough of Big Bang. GG's to Shiro to toughing it out because it doesn't take much to be punished pretty quickly.
Yep. It looks like Shiro is going to take that victory lap on her own, and decline the interview tonight. So it is on us to give our closing thoughts here. So what are your closing thoughts, Deathlight?
Seeds can be hard if you want to make it, and building your party really does make a difference on how much easier or harder your seed can be.
Absolutely. So this was a free enterprise community race night featuring our 5.0 alpha flags. Please make sure if you haven't done so yet, go out and follow your racers tonight, Flurry14 and Shiru. They volunteered to have their race restreamed, so without them we would not be able to commentate for you tonight. Please make sure you follow our wonderful helpers on this restream team, Beauty and Discovery, doing the levers and restreaming in the back. Falgren, keep track of all 55 of these objectives and key items. And Deathlike, it has been a pleasure. So on behalf of the Free Enterprise team and community, we'd like to thank you for joining us. We're going to kick us over to... Actually, there's nobody doing Free Enterprise right now. So we're going to send you over to the Speed Gaming 2 channel. They're doing the Chrono Trigger Jets of Time randomizer. They're doing a tournament on that. So thank you again. Make sure you give this channel a follow if you haven't done so already. And until next time, we appreciate it. Have yourself a good night.